I'm originally from Lebanon, and I came to Canada when I was a kid. I traveled the world, but never felt that way when you go back to your own home and see where you was born and you grew up. It was the most beautiful experience because I went to visit my town and I went to my home where it was being abandoned for 48 years. We have to leave to move to Kuwait because in my village there is not many jobs. It's hard to have a jobs at that time, and people you can't make money.
I am from Ecuador. I grew up in both Canada and in Ecuador, I guess. So I feel like I'm very much like both Canadian and Ecuadorian, very much. When I was growing up first in Canada, I really did not want to learn Spanish. I thought why do I need to learn Spanish? It's dumb, it's stupid. I used to get mad at my mom for speaking to me in Spanish. You almost feel embarrassed that she was speaking in Spanish to me instead of in English. When they decided to move to Ecuador, then I was obviously mad. It was hard to adapt to that, but I feel like when I got there and I learned that learning Spanish was actually really a beautiful thing.
When we had the war in 1975 to 79, it was very heavy war. We were attacked by many different countries. If we don't leave the house, there was going to be shooting. So we are one of the families, we have to leave our village and left our home.
I've resented them for a while because I thought they should have asked me. They should have asked me I wanted to go there. And I'm always jealous of a lot of my friends and even my partner that they grew up in one area for their whole life and they have their friends they've known since they were kids, and I don't have that. But now I understand why they wanted to do that. They wanted me to get more in touch with my culture, and a lot of my cousins, they don't know that. They don't know the culture, and they don't understand it the way that I have.
Well, I decided to cook something called laban immo. And laban immo, that means mother yogurt. To make laban immo, it has to be a very special, like when we invite people over, we make it to invite the family get together, special on the weekend.
I'm very excited to make tigrillo. Tigrillo is basically a plantain-based dish with eggs and cheese, and I'm gonna also add some bacon because I love bacon with plantain. I feel like it's bacon, plantain, and egg, perfect match for me, and it makes me feel like I'm at home, like Sunday breakfast.
When I was 10, when we arrived to Canada, when I came, I was shocked because it's very cold in Canada comparing to where I come from the Mediterranean Sea. I love Canada, but completely different. Culture and weather, completely different. My dad opened the second Arabic restaurant in Toronto, which was called Omar Al Khayyam. It was on College and Dovercourt. So we were the second Arabic restaurant when we make Lebanese food there. And I remember I was working there in the kitchen, and I was working waitress. I used to be very happy, and we were very busy. People loved to come to try our food. That's how I learned from my parents how to cook.
When I think of tigrillo, I remember just him waking us up really early in the morning and taking us in the car and saying, okay, we're going to the beach today. And then we would drive, and then we would stop at one of the little shops near the coastal region and have breakfast there. My breakfast of choice was always tigrillo or just anything with plantain because I loved it. Because it's kind of a messy meal, my mom didn't like to make it a lot. So every time I think of tigrillo, and now that I have my own space, I'm I'm gonna make it. I don't care if it's messy.
بلبنان عنا العالم بتحب بعضها كتير قرب لبعضها، وإذا بدك تروح تسوق بدك تتأكد أنه كل العالم فوضى، كتير شغل، كتير سيارات كتير، وما حدا بيوقف بيسمع للبوليس وبيوقف on stop sign. كلهم بيضلوا ماشيين. Maybe him, it red or green light. They all we keep driving. Nobody stopped. Nobody obeyed the rules in Lebanon. Over here, no, you can't. It was very hard for me to living in Canada. It took me 5 years to get used to the Canadian custom. It was so hard. In Lebanon, people are welcoming each other when they see each other. And automatically they ask me who is my family or where I come from. And they will invite me right away to join them for a cup of coffee. The opposite Canadian are cold and distant. That white culture are very different.
Sometimes it's kind of hard to feel like one place is your home. I feel like now I feel more so that Canada has become my home, but for a long time I didn't know, when people are like, oh, like you don't have an accent, you're not like from Ecuador. I'm like, I am though. Or like if I was in Ecuador, they'd be like, you don't have an accent, so you're not Canadian. I'm like, but I am. Like, so I struggled a lot, like growing up, just trying to figure out who I am.
You can't change, no matter how much far you live, wherever you live in the world, wherever you're born and where you come from, that cannot be changed. To always stay inside you. You cannot change it.
I feel like because I'm in Canada and it's, well, mostly like Ontario, it's very multicultural, and it makes me feel less alone that I know that I'm not the only one going through these changes. Meeting people that have kind of dealt with my same situation has helped me really discover who I am and accept my identity. And that's pretty much it. That's it.
I always feel homesick. Our country, whatever, but I always felt homesick. But if you ask me now, if you give me $1 million to go back home, I say, nice to visit, but this is my home here. That's how I feel now, completely. Yeah, can you help? Yeah, I have a problem with my arm.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
I have a problem with my shoulder. Oh, beautiful. Make sure scoop it from the bottom. There is some lemon that stick in the bottom, mix them. Good.
Is this more like a breakfast food, lunch food?
No, this is lunch.
This is lunch?
Lunch or dinner, you could have it. I think this is enough, more than enough.
I think so too.
Thank you.
I'm starting to feel more accepting of like how lucky I am to have experienced both lives, and I do want to go to Ecuador maybe to live maybe again a few years, but Canada has become more my home now.
Well, I would say I love you, Lebanon, my country, and I love Canada. Canada, it's my home now. That's what I could say. I love both countries. I would never be able to leave Canada. Even I'm Lebanese. Canada, Toronto, it's my home.
Are you okay with bacon? Yes? Okay, good. Sometimes you never
Cheers.
know.
Welcome to have lunch together.
Yeah, I know. Cheers to that. I really do like sparkling water too.
So, bon appetit.
Dime tú de dónde vienes, dime ahora dónde vas, qué sonrisas te entretienen, qué caricias sabes dar. Tu boca me mira, me invita a jugar, prendes fuego aquí en mi vida y la llama se te va.